If x is greater than 0, that means it cannot be 0. Which of the following is true so that the statement can be true? So what do you need to do? Same simplification, rational information, clear the denominator away from it. And therefore, we have 5 multiplied by x plus 2, and then minus 1 times 4. So this is what you have. Because this go here, minus 4 times 4. So you have 5x plus 4, 10 minus 4 over 4x plus 8. If you simplify, you get 5x plus 6 for x plus 8. And this is what? 5x plus 6, 4 times 8 plus 8. And this is the right answer, C. If you see this question, don't panic. It's a dot plot. Shown represent a number of glue sticks brought by a student for 2 classes, class A, class B. Which statement best compare the standard of deviation of the numbers of the glue stick brought in by each student for these 2 classes? A, standard deviation of glue student in class A is less than those in B. B, he said those in what? A is equal to B. C, those in A is greater than the standard deviation of those of B. And D said there's no information. What is usually your approach when you see this kind of question? Let me help you. Pick your answer choice first, but guess wisely, and then let me help you. But this is the way you approach this kind of question. Remember, the mean changes based on the normal and the quality of the data. But the standard deviation is the deviation from the mean. It's the spread. So if the shape of the graph is the same, standard deviation does not change. And this is how you can know if the shape is the same. Look at what they look like. They look the same. The spread, whether it's deviated towards the left or right, the spread is the same. Therefore, standard deviation does not budge. It has not changed. The mean may change based on the normal, right? The median may change, but look, the key concept, standard deviation does not change. So here, he said the standard deviation are equal to each other. So B is the right answer because of the shape of the graph. We are not changing the spread, but we are changing the normal. So it does not affect it. This is also my favorite question. In the system of equations shown, K is a constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of K? Pay attention. When they give you a solution, whenever you say if in a question, it means you got to use it. There's no solution. If something has no solution in the linear equation, that means they don't touch the line. They don't touch each other. So this is parallel lines. Parallel lines doesn't it touches each other. Their gradient is going to be the same, but their intercept will be different. So your job is to prove that, right? All you need to do, make it like a linear equation, keep the y on one side and x on the other side, then you equate it. So if you take the first equation, I have 13y minus 13 over 30y minus 13 over 30y. You get 23 what? 20 over y. That's the first thing. Where is the x? Let's go here. Yes, 11 over 20 x. And then the 10 is already there. So you have plus 10 over 13. That's the first equation. Second equation, I have ky. You stay there. And then this number, you stay here. 11 over 10x. 11 10x, right? And then this go here like that. So 13 minus 33 is what? Minus 20 over 10. The intercepts are not the same, but the gradient looks similar. Why? I can change this. I can multiply this by 2. I multiply this by 2, by 2, by 2. This becomes 23 over 10. Why? Is equal to what? 11 over 10 plus 20 over 13. That means this gradient is the same as this gradient. And therefore, what do I have right now? What do you think? K of ky is equivalent to 23 over 10. And therefore, they want you to calculate k. That's all. What should it be? Your k is right there staring at you. That's the way you solve this kind of question. The xy plane, the graph of a quadratic equation passes through the axis at two exactly points. These 2 points. Which of the following should be the equation? This is a traffic question. When you see this in the SAT, it's a bonus. They want you to take it and go away and make this point count. Why? Look at the numbers. -3, -50. These are roots of the equation because y values are all 0. If these are the roots, then what am I going to do? This has to be positive because it's already negative. This has to be negative because it's positive as a root. And this is equal to 0. That's what will give you this point. Therefore, which answer choice? This one, you make both all negative, wrong. This is good. This, they rewrite the same equation here, and we don't have 3 variables here. So your right answer is B. This is simplification question and manipulation of radicals and other thing. They've given you that what? B raised to 3 over 2 is 8. And they want you to find square root of B. Where I know B 3 over this is the same thing as this is raised to 3. I can change this into square root of B, and that will give me what? 3 outside. And then 2 raised to 3. Same exponent, cancel each other. That means 2 is equal to square root of B. They want you to find square root of B. Your answer choice is 2. A bunch of words there. They look intimidating. Once again, rewrite the equation like weights. When you do that, it becomes easy. A submersible device is used for ocean research. The function, bunch of numbers. Giving the depth, that's the key. When they give you this, they'll describe it. This is the depth. That means this is G of S is the distance from the surface of the ocean in meters of the submersible device X minutes after collecting a sample, probably deep in the sea, where X is greater than 0. How many minutes would you, after collecting the sample, would it take for the submersible device to reach the surface of the ocean? See if you can answer it. Think about the concept. Think about the things they've said and try to answer the question on your own before you let me give you the answer. You get your answer? You at least you have some idea how to proceed. Go back to the question. G of S is this distance from the surface. So if whatever machine, submarine or something like that, you go down to pick something from here, it has to come to the surface of the ocean to be able to collect, figure out what is the problem. And this is giving you the depth, how far they've gone. The question is asking, after you get the thing, you got to go back. That means the only way you can go back is when what? The surface is 0. That means G of X is equal to 0. That's the depth. If you're going back, you have no depth below the ocean. They say coming to the surface of the ocean. That means equate all this into 0. That's all. And solve it in the quadratic equation. If you do that, you're almost 80% done with the question. G of X is equal to 0. The 15, don't worry about it. It's already factorized. Don't expand it. You don't need to do any expansion. If you expand it, you're complicating the question. Do not expand it, right? I already know that X minus 19 is my root now. And X plus 35 is another root. It said what? X has to be greater than 0. pay attention to the condition attached to each question. Therefore, we can cancel 19 and take 35. So it's going to take 35 minutes to come to the surface. You got it? Straightforward, right? This is SAT maths. This is the way you break it down. The next question is also word problem. It's a little bit critical thinking, but you got it. A cube has an edge length of what? 68 inches. That's the cube. If you draw the cube, whichever way you want to draw it has an edge length of what? 68. Then it's a sphere, solid sphere with a what? Radius of what? 34 inches is inside. So we have inside it like that, such that the sphere touches everywhere. So it's covering every place of the faces of the cube. The nearest cubic, calculate in the nearest cubic inches, what's the volume of the space in cubic that not taken by the sphere? Or you know they are different shapes. So if you put a sphere in the cube, there will be some areas that is uncovered. So we're going to calculate the shaded area. That's all. What is the principle? Find the volume of the cube minus volume of the sphere, and that can give you the area of unshaded. That's all. And you know the volume of the cube is x raised to 3. That's 68 raised to 3. And you know the volume of the sphere is provided to you. It's one of the equations given to you, which is 4 over 3 over 3 pi r cube. If you substitute the values, you're going to get a lot of big numbers. Be careful as you handle them. I know you can handle them. You end up having A as your right answer. But those are the numbers. You know the radius. This is just substitution, right? Radius is 34. Make sure you multiply 3 times or cube it times the pi 3 over 4. Calculate it. You have a calculator and subtract the 2. That will give you the right answer. In the XY plane, a parabola has a vectors of what? 9 minus 14. This is my favorite, one of my favorite questions, because it can trap a lot of people and people think it's a difficult question. It's straightforward. If the parabola intersect the x-axis at 2 points, that means we have a solution. A has to be greater than 0. If the equation of parabola can be written in this form, standard equation, A plus B and C are constant. What is the value of A plus B plus C? You say, oh, so many constant. How can I get it? You don't need to get them. You can get them at once. Once again, get them at once. Whenever they say A plus B plus C, try and see if you can get them at once. I know A has to be greater than 0. And when they give me vectors, I know Y is equal to what? A x minus 9 square minus 14. Is already taken care of. I know if A is greater than 0, that's the condition. Every time you're trying to find what? A plus B plus C, if you put S is equal to 1 here, it will give you A plus B plus C. F of 1 is the same thing as what? A plus B plus C. Put F of 1 in this equation, and you see what it's going to give you. If you put F of 1 in that equation, you're going to get what? A 1 minus 9 square minus 14. This is going to give you, if you calculate it, 64 A minus 14. Now, you're not done yet. We have to satisfy A is greater than 0. So we know the Y is being given. These are all our Y. Because this is the sum of the solution, A plus B plus C, right? What you need to do, just substitute it. Make Y minus 23, minus 19, minus 14, and minus 11, and see what you have. If I put, let's say, 23 here, 14 has to go back here, and 14, and because 23 is smaller than 14, you're still going to get a negative number. A has to be positive. That is taken care of. Wrong. Same thing. If I put 19, I'm still going to get a negative number. This is also wrong. If I put 14, I'm going to get 0. It says A has to be greater than 0. Therefore, D is your right answer. And this is the way you approach it. It looks intimidating, but that's the way you should answer this kind of question. A function provided, f of g, is defined as this. For what value of s does the function g reach its maximum? This is also a concept question. Maximum value. Pick your answer choice. Let me see. You can try to graph it, but I want you to give yourself a break and use the concept. Sometimes when you know the concept, typing in a computer or anything is not going to help you. But what is the key? What is the key here? They say find the value of x, right? That will give you a maximum value. If you draw whatever the quadratic, whether it's facing here, facing up, here is the maximum value. And the maximum value occurs as a certain x. And that x is what? It's the vertex, the x of the vertex. Which is what? What do you think? Which is what? There's two ways to find it. You can use the vectors minus b over 2a, or the vectors is the symmetry of the equation. If I give you a graph, it's the symmetry. And based on this, these are the root of the solution. It's been simplified. Therefore, I know my roots are minus 8, right? Plus 2. That's all. These are the root of the equation. If I need the middle of it, so the root 1 has to be here, here. The middle is the vectors of that root. It's the midpoint. How do you calculate midpoint? 8 minus 8 over plus 2 over 2. That will give you minus 6. Therefore, the vectors x over 2. And this is what? Minus 3. That's the midpoint of the equation. And therefore, this is t. That's how you calculate the vectors x value. Is the midpoint of the roots that you've been given. So our x value is going to be minus 3. Rational equation. When you see this kind of question, it asks you what is the value of a certain number. If you give you fraction or anything like that, or multiplication, try it when you're working, keeping that in mind. Don't separate it. If you start separating information, it will take a long time to come back. So for this one, I'm just going to clear the fraction. Clear the fraction. Multiply 5 to 4a minus b is equal to 3a plus b. Then when you open it, I get 20a minus 5b is equal to 3a plus 3b. I need a over b. I send this one here, I'm going to get what? 17a. I send b back here, I get 8b. They said I should do what? What did they ask me? A over b. A over b. I put b here, and I put 17 down here. So I take the b off, I take 17 here, I have a over b. A over b is what? 8 over 7. And 8 over 17, and that's your right answer.